Okay.
started the recording.
All right. Thank you. All right. So we've completed our executive session, of course, taken no action or excuse me, taken no votes on any action. There was a comment, however, as we were going into executive session about a resolution that maybe I missed, and I've gone back through my emails, and forgive me if I've just missed this somewhere because I've been going by the agenda. But was there a text of a resolution for the farm workers circulated somewhere? And if so, can someone just tell me the date that was circulated?
It came in this morning at 10:13 and was distributed at 10:34.
Okay. Oh, this, okay. Yeah, no, I see it now. Okay. Well, I did not happen to read this, but I can certainly quickly read it. Commissioner Dimas, this is a resolution that you are presenting and putting forth.
Yes, it's a resolution that I had mentioned in the last special meeting, and I apologize for getting it to y'all a little late. It's been a little busy on my end, but I thought it was important to present this, especially with it being Latino Hispanic Heritage Month, and workers' rights is a big thing for my community here, and with some of the things that have been going on, I thought that it would be a powerful resolution for our community here in Sunnyside, as well as in Central Washington, and just in general for workers in general.
All right. So I guess I'll open up the floor to discussion about the resolution, and I do have a comment, but anybody else have any initial thoughts about it?
I helped write it, so I'm going to leave the floor to those who haven't read it to share their thoughts.
So I remember there was a briefing, and there was actually an article in the paper too about the Attorney General settling some lawsuits that touch on this. And
Ostrom Farms.
Yeah. Is there any benefit of including that in the resolution?
A great call out. Commissioner Dimas, what are your thoughts since you're leading this?
So I mean, we could. The only thing is that as much as that lawsuit was great, unfortunately, the mushroom farm got bought out. And so now it's new owners, and it goes under a different name called Windmill Farms. So the settlement doesn't necessarily affect the new owners now, which is why we're still in this situation where workers are still fighting for rights and to unionize.
Now, my memory of that lawsuit, though, and the settlement was that it wasn't a settlement without an admission of fault and that was confidential. There was an admission, and obviously the settlement was public. And we can certainly go back to double check that fact. But I think it's important to say that this isn't just coming out of nowhere. We can recite all these facts, but look no further than somebody from your own community admitting to wrongdoing and having to pay. And now I get it, they were bought out, now they're reorganized, but you can put on a different hat, but you're still the same head that's wearing it. And I think that was an action by the Attorney General's office, obviously not by the Human Rights Commission, but I think if there was a stipulation or an admission of discrimination as part of that settlement, which I think there was, I think we call that out.
I think a language, and what I can read this off here if someone wants to type it, or maybe I can send it to you, Chelsea. Whereas Ostrom Farms, now operating as Windmill Farms in Sunnyside, Washington, has been the subject of numerous complaints from farm workers concerning unsafe working conditions, low wages, and barriers to unionization, highlighting ongoing systemic issues that violate the rights and dignity of agricultural workers in the region. If we add a whereas like that, would that be okay, Commissioner Dimas?
Yeah, I think that's perfect. I'm just pulling up the document. I don't know if there's a way you could just drop that in the chat or send it
Yes.
over and I can just add it in there.
I will add it to document at the very bottom here. Coming in. Should be there.
Oh, guys, this is even worse. They signed a consent decree. It's not even a settlement, it's a consent decree.
Tell me more.
So a settlement would be where you know there's an active case and the two parties decide to sign a release where they say in exchange for X amount of dollars, you dismiss the claims against us and we kind of walk away from this. Sometimes there's an added provision that says, you know, this payment should not be construed as an admission of fault, that we dispute the validity, but this is a cost-saving measure the parties wish to put it behind them. A consent decree is a document that you file with the court where the defendant, and in this case, and I'm looking here, it was signed. Let's see. It was signed off by the judge, and the lawyers for the mushroom farm signed off on it. And assurance of discontinuance. Yeah,
What are the provisions?
Well, they've got, and I'm just quickly scrolling through this to make sense of it, but it seems, recite the allegations of the complaint. It says that they ceased operating. They've agreed to resolve the allegations without need for further investigation. Nothing in this consent decree shall be deemed an admission. All right, so
right. Usually the consent decrees are not an admission of guilt or anything like that. It does require action and provisions. So I'm curious what the provisions are. Imagine it's like provide safer workplaces and such.
Yeah, well, it provides for an injunction, so they have to stop doing certain things. Let's see.
So another whereas, oh, go ahead.
It does apply. And it does say each of the provisions shall immediately apply to Ostrom and or Acela Sunnyside. So it continues on to its successor. And then Ostrom and Acela Sunnyside shall notify the state prior to any change to the identity responsible for compliance. Yeah, so they're paying $3.4 million and doing some things, and Ostrom's closure has no impact on it, but they're not taking any responsibility.
So Chelsea,
I'm wrong on that.
Are we asking for the AG's office to pursue this because the complaints are still happening under the new name, Windmill Farms?
Yeah, I would love to include that. I just wasn't sure, like, I guess in our capacity, what we can ask or request. This is my first resolution that I've written. So if we can include that language, that would be incredible. Because workers are really suffering. I mean, I just worked with one last night at my workers forum, and there's severe health issues going on too. So, I would really love for something to be done because people are really getting harmed.
Yeah, I think we can I think it makes sense to add a be it resolved, urging the AG's office to take action on this. I would need advice on what that language would sound like and how we could stay within our swim lane.
Yeah, and I'm trying to see here, I think Patrick, who's the AAG, he gave his update earlier and is not on the call right now. My impression is that we can make our stance known, but
Patrick's on the call.
Yeah, he's here.
Oh, hi, Patrick. Sorry, there you are.
Hello, Chair. I am still on the call.
Can we, as part of a resolution, urge you or your agency to take action or investigate, or can we make more of a policy statement? Or both?
If a resolution is voted on and can pass, it can say, I guess, what you would like it to. I would encourage Commissioner Demas or any commissioners, if you have specifics on any potential violations of this, assurance of discontinuance and order entered by the court, that you communicate it to our Civil Rights Division. And I believe when you brought this up a few meetings ago, I alerted our Civil Rights Division. And so if you provide any of those specifics, I would just recommend that you pass them on to our Civil Rights Division.
So the reading between the lines, I think what I'm hearing is that I guess we can pass whatever we want, but it's more impactful in terms of the goal of rooting this out if the referral is made to the office rather than by resolution. That's what I'm hearing. Patrick's not saying don't do it. He's just saying don't just stop here. Get it to the right channel. But well, Commissioner Demas, this is the resolution that you presented. So I don't want to. I don't think we need to table this for next meeting. I think we can take action on it today. We just have to tweak any final things. Is there? I guess I brought this up, so I'll say I think the language that you read, Commissioner Tron, is fine. I don't think we need to say more than that.
Okay, I was going to also suggest adding a be it resolved section calling for action. It would sound like so be it resolved that the Washington State Human Rights Commission will monitor the compliance of Windmill Farms, formerly Ostrom Farms, with the terms of its consent decree and ensure that the rights of the farm workers, including safe working conditions, fair wages, and ability to unionize, are protected. Commission will work in partnership with relevant regulatory bodies and labor organizations to ensure that farm workers are not subjected to discriminatory practices or unsafe environment. Is that overstepping?
Because in some ways it doesn't matter. It's just what happens with the resolution after we pass it is the question. Are we arguing over something that can't be done, or is it more of a policy statement to say here's where we put the flag in the ground?
Yeah.
I mean,
we could do both, right? We can put in the resolution and we can follow up with the right regulatory bodies to do the work.
And then they tell us, well, you couldn't do that. Okay, well, we did it, and then it's consider it our statement of our position more so than anything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Chelsea, Commissioner Demas, I've added the verbiage in the document if you want to consider it and add it. I definitely approve these additions. This is great suggestions, Thursday.
Yeah, I'm just finding where to move them right now. So, and then I will. Yeah. If you have any suggestions on where to put it, because there's quite a bit here, which is great.
Yeah, I think if the commission is okay with those, what I've already read off, in addition to another whereas, where I said, whereas Windmill Farms, formerly Ostrom Farms, entered into a consent decree to address complaints related to unsafe working conditions and unfair labor practices, yet farm workers continue to report violations, highlighting the ongoing need for stricter enforcement of labor protections. So those are the 3 paragraphs that I added. 2 whereases, 1 be it resolved. I think as long as the commission is okay with that language, I can find where to put it in the resolution that was emailed out to the commission.
And just so that because we're saying that there are ongoing complaints, I'm not a witness to those. But the factual basis for that is knowledge about pending complaints, or is the factual basis for that what Commissioner Demas said?
It was what Commissioner Demas said.
Okay.
We can leave that part out if it's based on speculation.
Well, it's not speculation if people are reporting problems to her, but I think it's just clear that as a commission, if we say that there are ongoing problems, that we don't lose credibility by where are the problems, right? So, I mean, this is all on the record. So if Commissioner Demas, and she did, I'm not saying if, she did say that people are coming to her and reporting these things, and she's bringing them to our attention. Doesn't really matter that they're not formal complaints. People are talking to her about it. So I think that's fine.
Okay. Commissioner Jasmine, are those two whereas and then be it resolved okay?
I think that you have to be careful about transfer of complaints from one company to another company because there was a change of name and there might be new policies in that company's file that is dealing with discrimination and all that already. So do we have complaints, new complaints towards that new company, or are we transferring complaints from the old company to the new one? This is the gap that I'm thinking about.
Yeah. Commissioner Demas, what are your thoughts on that? I mean, have you heard from the people that are complaining to you about successor company, Acellus, specifically?
Yes, so many of them were workers as well under the old company. And once the sale happened, they continued working there and it stopped for a little bit, is what they said. And then it just continued and it got worse.
And when they tell you these things, do you sense that there's any desire to pursue a claim or to make a report to the commission about this? Or is it your sense that they're coming to you to tell you this and then that's where it ends?
I would say it's a combination of both. So I attended kind of like a press conference a few weeks back that was organized by UFW, where over 60 farm workers that work for this farm were airing their grievances, and it was all recorded. So I'm not sure if I can request it and see if we can somehow do something with it, because they're not exactly sure about the complaint status, like how to do that. But it was recorded.
As long as we have something in file, this is like, that's what my concern is, having something in file. A recording is good, tape or video of them complaining or something about the new company. It's something somewhere that would give us, that would base our decision on going forward towards against this new company.
I think also
I
we have
mean,
to be, I think that's a great suggestion, Commissioner Jasmine. I'm concerned about potential retaliation if they identify themselves on video recording.
okay.
I don't, yeah, Commissioner Demas, is that a concern at all?
That is definitely a concern. I believe that UFW took that just so they can transcribe the testimonies that they heard. It wasn't necessarily, I don't think it was going to be submitted anywhere. So I can ask and see if we can get that information transcribed. But I also, when I was there, was taking notes
Okay.
as well, which
so
I
you are a
have
witness.
notes.
So you are a
Yes.
witness to this. So I mean, the transcript would be helpful, but your firsthand perception of what was said can also be helpful. I mean, I don't think we have to get into those weeds because those weeds kind of shake themselves out elsewhere. I think the point is that if we're going to say that there are present complaints against a company, it would be prudent for us to have done our due diligence to confirm that there's a factual basis for that. And the factual basis that we are being presented with as a commission is a commissioner saying, I was a witness to complaints. The question we have to decide is, as a quasi-judiciary agency, is that enough for us to make a statement about a non-adjudicated complaint in the context of a resolution?
Let me just chime in if you don't mind. I think that this certainly seems like an opportunity for staff to go and do some outreach and tell folks what discrimination is and what it's not, and take them through an intake process so they can file charges. And if they file charges with us, we can investigate those charges. Now, I don't know, maybe you all don't think for some reason, Commissioner Demas, maybe that's not what people want, but I do want to say that is our job to, if we believe discrimination is happening, that we go and talk with folks and take their information and investigate the matter through our office if we have jurisdiction.
Here's what I suggest. I think it's, and I'm the one that started this whole fiasco. I think it's good in the resolution that we call out that this isn't coming out of thin air.
Yeah.
And there was a full court case with a consent decree signed by a judge that addresses discrimination involving one farm in an area that we know, at least anecdotally, if not more, has a tendency to utilize these deceptive and unfair and improper practices. I think that's the point of the addition. The consternation going beyond that and saying, well, there's also present complaints against the successor. We could say that. I think there are good reasons for not saying it, and I don't think saying it advances the ball necessarily with what we're trying to accomplish. I think passing this resolution is going to move it a lot. Calling out an employer for alleged incidents, and I'm not saying any of these things didn't happen, but they're allegations until proven, and there hasn't been a proceeding where it's been proven. We don't have the factual support for the allegation in front of us. And if this were to come up in front of us later, I think we would want to maintain some impartiality, because if we're recognizing this is ongoing and that claims either exist or may exist later, I think from a due process and fairness perspective, we ought to look at these things impartially. So putting our finger on the scale kind of defeats the purpose of encouraging people to come. I'm not saying that I'm siding with the farms on this, but I think what we do matters and what we say matters. So if we can take an impartial road, we ought to. So if we can cite the consent decree, because that's public record, it's court record, we should. But I kind of am feeling a little bit of hesitation after hearing what Commissioner Jasmine is saying, that we maybe not ought to go the next step.
And that is so, what is so sad about it, they are abusing the people, really. But when the law is concerned, where the law is concerned, is like you can blow it out of proportion, or you can do something that dismiss everything altogether. So if we are careful not to use transfer cases and transfer, because that's two different companies. Even if it could be the same owners, but it's a two different company, automatically you don't know what's in their file unless you have new files and evidence. And then we're just speculating. But I'm not saying it's speculation 100%. It is happening, but we have to have proof and at least something tangible that is the same thing is going on. That's, to me, yes.
So I think where that's, I guess if I'm proposing the amendment, and I know Patrick wants to comment, but I'll propose the amendment be what Commissioner Tron read, without a reference to there being ongoing complaints or commentary about that. Patrick, go ahead.
If I can just make a comment on the amendment, the language mentioning the monitoring compliance of windmill farms with the terms of its consent decree. I would maybe just raise a note of caution that if the court enters an order, it's sort of within the court's powers to be monitoring the compliance with its specific order. So I understand the sentiment. I don't know if that's quite what it was getting at, but I might just raise a note of caution with that type of language in the resolution.
No, that's perfect. Thank you for that, Patrick. How would you edit? What would you change it to, or would you completely remove that, be it resolved?
I would leave it up to you all as to what you want it to say, but I think that the language of that was, if I was hearing you all correctly, was sort of being receptive and hearing concerns, current concerns of farm workers, more along those lines as opposed to monitoring compliance with a court order.
So it should be a whereas rather than a resolution.
So I put it under be it resolved because it's an action that we take. So I changed it now to omit that portion. And thank you very much for that feedback. This is exactly why we want to run this through the body. I've changed it to be it resolved that the Washington State Human Rights Commission will work in partnership with relevant regulatory bodies and labor organizations to ensure that farm workers are not subjected to discriminatory practices or unsafe environments. I guess there's an issue there, like how are we ensuring? It's very broad, which is fine, but as long as it doesn't have any kind of legal implication.
Well, we're not stepping into something we can't do. I mean, we're the agency is it's a regulation promulgating agency. It is a quasi judiciary. They investigate and respond to claims, and then from there it's outreach. So if we stay in those three lanes, we really can't comment on the investigation other than to say whereas we do investigate these things. There's really no regulations to address, at least nothing before us. Maybe say we want to evaluate the state of the regulations. I don't know. That may be something. But standing in solidarity, supporting the rights. I mean, you could go that route in the resolution.
Okay.
Is this like an active document that I can be looking at while
it's
these
not? I
changes are
have
made?
in the email response.
Okay, all right.
And I'm updating it as it. So I'm sending another email. Kind of really bad way to do this. There should be a live way to do this.
Well, do you want to share your screen?
I can do that. Yes, maybe. Let me see. Okay, so I won't be able to see anybody except for whoever speaks. It's going to show up in the bottom right. Based off of the feedback, I would recommend we remove this portion, but keep the one above. So let me see if I can highlight. So remove the highlighted whereas and keep the go away.
Correct. Yeah, I think that's appropriate.
Okay, so I'm going to remove this whereas. And then I am going to come down here. This is the edited version right here that I have highlighted in gray.
Yeah, that's the part that this goes to Andrea, and she says, "What do you want me to do?" Well, okay, thanks for the resolution. What do you want me to do? I guess Washington will work in partnership with regulatory bodies and labor organizations to ensure the farm workers are not subjected to discriminatory practices.
Right.
Oh, I have an idea. So to ensure that instead of to ensure that farm workers are not subjected, because we don't really have any power over that, but we can ensure that they're, what's the language? Putting it in our lane, right? They're getting due process or whatever the correct language is there through the Human Rights Commission.
Yeah. I guess you could say to provide remedies to reported discriminatory practices in unsafe environments. And then if we can get the funding to actually do it quickly and help these folks ease the backlog, I think that would even make everyone's job a lot better.
Discriminatory. Why can't I type? It's not letting me type. So weird.
I think you're just missing an IN after the M.
Yeah, it won't let me type. So I'm just gonna write the word. Oh, interesting. It's not letting me type at all. So I'll figure this out.
Okay. All right.
Green.
So, Commissioner Demas, I mean, this is your resolution. Are the amendments that we're proposing, are they doing what you are intending this resolution to do, or are we getting out of left field?
No, I think all of this is great, and I really appreciate the discussion and really the intentionality. You know, I am not a lawyer, so it's nice to have kind of that legal background and understanding of what we can and can't do, and also kind of gets me more familiar with like what we're supposed to be doing. So I really appreciate all this, and I think it's become more powerful. So thank you.
All right, then I think we may have a resolution then, a final version. Are there any other changes to make?
I sent the resolution language updated to what we just discussed that was shared on the screen to everyone except for the rest of the commissioners, just for OPMA sake laws following it. But Chair Spite, you should have it in your email soon.
Okay. All right, so how do I do this?
Can I make a motion?
You can make a motion, yes.
Okay. I make a motion that we pass the resolution as emailed to the administration and Chair Spite.
Second.
All right. And I do have it here if anybody wants to look at it, but subject to that, all those in favor say aye.
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 All opposed? No opposition. The motion passes. Thank you, everybody. That was an important discussion, but we got through it. And thank you, Commissioner Demas, for bringing that. And congratulations.
Yeah, I just want to give a quick shout out to Commissioner Tron because she helped me a lot in it. I wasn't really quite sure what I could include. So thank you for your allyship and collaboration. And thank you, everybody, for being part of this.
You know, I learned that it just include whatever and we'll see what happens.
So that's how they write laws.
There's a lot for you, a lot for you, a lot for you.
Uh-huh. Yeah. All right. Well, any other new business we need to address before we wrap up? Allison?
Yeah, apologies. So while we were on break for executive session, it was brought to my attention that there was a case that was involved in your packets before you that was not listed on your case closure log. And so I did just want to flag that for everyone's reference. There were actually 33 cases before you. I can send out a revised log if the body is interested in that, but I apologize for the administrative oversight. You did have a case before you that was not listed on your log.
You remember which one that was?
Yes, the name is Wilson. It is the last case in PDF 6.
All right, let me go take a look at that again.
Thank you. Apologies.
Which one was Wilson? Oh, no reasonable. Okay, yeah, I remember this one.
Is it in closure 6?
6, yeah.
Okay, well,
Versus security properties residential.
Hmm.
All right. Well, thank you for bringing that up. Is there any discussion regarding that matter, which resulted in a no reasonable cause finding?
a very thorough investigation.
Yeah, Nicole Bond did a good job writing this one up.
Mhm.
All right, hearing no discussion, I'll entertain a motion.
I'm sorry, do we need to entertain a motion? I thought we passed.
Yeah,
Because it wasn't in there.
yeah. Technically, I said the 32 cases submitted in the case closure log, and this was number 33. So this would be a motion to approve Jerome Wilson versus Security Properties Residential, case number 17 HDRX 0266-22-3 HUD, which is in PDF 6.
I do make a motion.
All right. Anyone seconding?
Second.
All right. All in favor to approve, say aye.
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 Any opposed? All right. Case is approved as submitted. Thank you for catching that, Allison. Okay. Anything final before we wrap up? All right. Hearing nothing. Our next meeting is October 24th, 10 a.m. We'll see everybody then.
wait. Oh, invites. It's Indigenous Peoples Day, October 10th. So there's a lot going down, like happening in Seattle. I don't have like any specific invite for people, but if you're in the area, please look up events. I think there's one that's happening in, let me pull up the invite here actually. It's happening.
If you send the invites to me, I'll send them out to
Oh,
everyone.
Thank you. Yeah, I'll do that. Oh, it's October 14th, excuse me, on a Monday, 1:30 to 5 p.m. It's on at King Street Station, and there's like 2 or 3 different ones happening. There's also one that's going to happen at Lake Washington High School, which I'm going to try and make it there. Traffic allows. But I will send the invite to Director Armstrong to distribute.
Okay.
I also have a quick question, if it's okay. For the for the resolution, is it going to be put on our website, or are we going to receive something once it's finalized?
It should go on the website. I think all of them go on the website, and then from there, I mean, I guess if you want a copy of it when it gets posted, can whoever posts it just send out a copy to the commissioners?
Yeah, that would be amazing.
Yeah,
Thank
once
you
I
so
get it
much.
on letterhead, I'll get that right out to all of y'all. I appreciate your patience.
Excellent.
Thank
Thank
you.
you, Allison. All right, everybody. See you in a month.
All
Thank
right.
you.
All right. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
Good
Bye-bye.
meeting. Good meeting.
Good meeting.